one of the most destructive ways that we exasperate our children is when we have little or no discipline in the home. Little or no discipline in the home. It absolutely exasperates children. Why? Well, because it offers them no correction. And when you give a kid sort of, free rein to how he's going to live his life without any correction, without any discipline, in the short term, man, it totally seems like freedom, seems awesome. But in the long term, it messes the kid up. And here's why. The reason it messes the kid up is because it ushers in all sorts of consequences, chief among them guilt, shame, and a lack of peace. Why? Well, because what happens is the way God has designed you, tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 that He's put eternity into the human heart. The prophet Jeremiah speaks of God engraving sin on the hearts of His people. You read in Hebrews chapter 8 where God puts the law in our minds and He writes it on the tablets of our heart. And so what happens then in a home where discipline is lacking, the result in the heart and in the mind of the child is guilt and shame and unrest because it violates their conscience. Because God has already placed it within their heart and within their mind that their behavior is wrong. It always cracks me up when you're talking to an atheist and they maintain that, everything's relative in life. Like there's no standards. It's like you have your truth and I have my truth. But then, if I was to punch them in the nose, they would say, well, that's wrong. Well, who says? My truth says I can punch you in the nose. But inherently, everybody in their heart of hearts, in their minds, they know the difference between right and wrong. Why? Because God has written right and wrong on the tablets of your heart, on the tablets of your mind. And so what happens then if you have children and you raise them without consequences, you raise them without discipline for their actions, then what happens is it violates their conscience. And so the result is guilt and shame and unrest. That's why discipline is so important, because it brings correction. It offers rest from guilt and shame.